Okay, everybody, I am going to attempt to make a wave knife out of the cold steel clip point. Now this came about because I had a Sogzilla, the stainless version, and I grinded out the area right here with bad focus. Let me see here. Still not good focus. Well, I grinded out this area, so now it can catch my pocket and make it into a wave feature, which is very handy since I'm left-handed. And it had that nice hole there, so I was able to grind that out, and it gave me kind of a template to do so. And I thought to myself, why can I not do that with this one? I love the triad lock, very strong lockup, but it's going to take some extra steps because obviously it doesn't have that hole as the kind of Spyderco-esque hole. So I'm going to have to do a little tampering to make this a wave knife. Just got it in the mail today, so I'm a little nervous about it, but I think I'm able to do it properly. First, I'm going to be removing the thumb stud holder there. Now generally I would use at this point the back end of this hole to follow the contour. But because I want to use that thumb stud, I'm going to mark off where my back end of my hole is going to be. And then I'm just going to kind of roughly draw a little hook into there. And guys, I'm using a not too good of a flip phone, or a flip ultra there camera, so it's not the best. But I'm going to draw up, then I'm going to draw over of where I'm going to grind it, and I'm going to be using the kind of a straight edge here. And I do it with a permanent marker so I can first see what it's going to look like. A little bit. So looking at it, it's kind of what I'll be grinding out. Again, I'm going to have some space here where I'll be able to put my thumb stud back so I can deploy it through a thumb stud and then the wave feature. Have a pretty prominent hook in there. Okay guys, I went back over it with a little better marker there. Can't go wrong with this one. And kind of went a little darker so you can see kind of the negative space when we cut out that shaded part, what it's going to look like as far as the shape of the blade, because even though it's going to be functional, you still want your blade to look semi decent. I mean, you don't want to start chopping away and then have no spine on your blade, or if you start cutting weird uneven grooves on it, it's going to look a little awkward. You know, I could have taken this point all the way up to a little higher, but where that clip point is there, I definitely didn't want to mess with that. And I like the thickness of the blade. So it looks like there's going to be where my catch is, my thumb stud, and the overall look of the blade is interesting. Now one thing you also want to take a look at is when it's closed, what's it going to look like there? Because we're still at the point where things can be changed. And you know, it's going to have a nice high little rise point on it. As we drag on the back of our pants, it's going to catch your wave feature, and it's going to open. And then I'll also have my thumb stud where I could open it manually. So I look pretty happy with that. We're going to go to the shop and start cutting on this thing with the Dremel. One thing you want to keep in mind is you want to cut not directly on the line, because you got to take into account the thickness of the grinding wheel. You don't want to overcut, because obviously you can't add to the metal, but you can also grind down more if needed, but you can't add on to it. So let's stay on the inside of the black as we cut in, and then if we need to, well, we're going to have to kind of grind and polish smooth, so we're going to leave a little extra there, and then we can do some tests on it, because you definitely don't want any sharp edges that's going to snag or cut your clothes or even yourself. So pretty happy with this one. Let's go grind it out and see what we're going to come up with. Okay, here at the shop we're going to need a few things. We're going to start with, most importantly, your safety glasses. We're going to grab a rag out of the bag of rags there. What else we're going to need? We're going to need a clamp. Have the bigger clamp. Just want to hold the thing down. Workbench, and we're going to go over to this area. We're going to clamp down to the surface here. We're going to lay the rag down so we don't scratch the aluminum on the handle. Turn your light on, and we're going to set the Dremel up. That's our next step. Okay, ideally what we want to do is we want to clamp this down to keep a good purchase on it as we're grinding out with our Dremel. But I just realized that because I'm left-handed and I made our design on this side and I want it to be flat, I'm going to go ahead and take off my pocket clip, because at the end result I'm left-handed and that's going to go on the other side anyways. So I'm quickly going to take this off. Now as we flip it over, it's going to lay nice and flat, so whenever we do grind we can get a good clamp on it. So okay, so now we're going to pick the right tool. Generally I use the kind of abrasive style Dremel. I got my little wand and my portable so I can be a little more manual with it. You have a few options here. You can use those really brittle disposable ones, but I find that for me the abrasive kind is going to be the most useful. It's also good whenever we kind of polish out a little bit. And then at the very end step we get a little buffing wheel and we can buff out the edges. Got some cone rocks in case you need to do some grinding on the cone rocks. A couple of options. Most important thing, again, like I said, you want to stay on the cut side of your line so you can always go back and correct it. I'm going to put that in on a quick connect, tighten it up. We're going to plug it in and we're going to start cutting. Okay, so I clamped down my Dremel tool. It's going to probably be loud. Now, one thing that people don't say, or they say a lot, I'm not sure, but you want to watch out on the heat tempering on the blade. If you hold down in one spot, you can change the heat tempering, so be careful with that. Probably have some WD-40 nearby. I got to put the light in the right spot. And the most important thing is get some balls, because you're about to cut into a $100 knife you just purchased. Not 100, more like 60. But you get the point. You don't ever want to screw anything up. So measure twice, cut once, and here we go. I don't know if you can see too well, but I stayed pretty aggressively on the inside of that my black marker there, so I can always go back and grind down. Again, it's all about taking your time with it and working slow. I'm going to grab some WD-40 real quick so we can make sure we don't burn anything. Okay, switched over to my iPhone. Significantly better quality. So well, this is the part that really matters. So we're just going to put a little WD-40 on there just so nothing gets burnt or cut. And we're going to continue slowly cutting. Probably got a good view of that. So you can see my top and bottom cut. Here's going to be my top hook area. That's going to be the negative space. But again, just going to cool that down a little bit. The blade's getting really hot. Just want to take your time with it. Make sure you're having good cuts. Alright guys and girls, we're still grinding away here. Blade's getting pretty warm, so that's kind of what we're looking at. Taking your time with it because you don't want to rush it. Okay guys, I flipped the knife over so I can get the opposite side as well. So that's what we're looking like. It took a little while because I took my time with it. If you noticed again, I stayed pretty far off here so I can still put that thumb stud on there. And then again, obviously I have my wave feature and then the new profile of my blade. I'm going to take this off. Again, I'm by myself at this point, so I'm going to take this off, then we'll take a look at the blade and then we'll clean up those edges as well. So we'll see what it looks like here in a moment. Hey everybody, here's what the new profile of the blade looks like. It's going to be my thumb opener as well as my these trad locks are tough. There's a table there. Profile of it closed. Camera on, so if I can get it. So it is a functional wave opener. I'm going to go and I'm going to clean those edges up and polish it up. Okay, and I am finished with my cold steel Code 4 wave feature. I'd put all the hardware back in lefty since I was blessed with as a left-hander. Perfect centering. And here's the profile of the knife. There's a new profile of it closed. Opened up. There's your new profile. I think it turned out pretty cool. Interesting blade shape, but it's a give and take. You gotta give a little to be able to be functional. In my line of work, I usually take my knife out one-handed quickly to attack the boxes that need to be opened, and the wave feature is a good, useful tool for me. Now, here's the progression of my wave features. Now, I talked earlier about leaving that thumb stud in because I did want to leave that open, my cold steel holdout, which I first did. I did not leave that in because it has such a low profile over the handle, the G10 handle. I kind of had to use the back of that hole as a curvature to become a wave feature. So this is purely a waveable knife. I guess you could kind of get in there and open that up if need be. But it kind of turned out to be kind of a leaf design, which is pretty interesting. And I use this knife quite a bit actually at work. Again, it kind of just changes the shape of that holdout. Again, for my SOG Zilla here, that was pretty easy. Gave that Spyderco-esque hole already for me, so it wasn't too hard to just notch out that front end. And again, I really like this knife because of the thinness, and I like this is kind of my thought process. I love the arc of the triad lock, of the strength of the holdout, a little thick. I love the thinness of the Sogzilla, but I didn't want the back lock, and I wanted a triad lock, and hence when this came out, the Cold Steel Code 4, everything I wanted. Had the thinness and then the trad lock as well, so this may be my favorite new toy. Alright guys, I'm going to post this, we'll see how it looks. And again, the reason what made me want to make this video was I was looking for a video to watch on how to do this. I mean, I knew how to do it, I just like to watch people be crafty, so I thought I'd make my own. And once again, there it is, the Cold Steel Code 4 clip point modification wave feature with thumb studs.